Good afternoon. It's time now for our 2-minute daily Bible reading and thought. I'm going to read from 2 Corinthians, beginning around the 7th verse, 12th chapter, 7th verse. And it's Paul's writing here about how he felt so built up and how he felt so much joy and how he could boast about all the wonderful things God was doing through him. He said, before I felt too wonderful about myself that I might get carried away with myself, God said something very special to me. And he says in the 7th verse, therefore, to keep me from being too elated, says God, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from being too elated. 3 times I appealed to the Lord about this, that it would leave me. But the Lord said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is made perfect in weakness. So I will boast all of the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore I am confident with weakness, insults, hardship, persecution, and calamities for the sake of Christ. For whenever I am weak, then I am strong. There's been a lot of ink spilled across the pages of theology, people trying to guess what that thorn was in Paul's side. I believe that thorn in his side was that memory of the things that he had done in his past, and he had done some pretty horrible things. Paul would say, I'm the chief among sinners, and believe me, he was. When he was in his capacity as a Pharisee and authority of the church, chasing down these newfound Christians who they called heretics in the Jewish faith, bringing him into prison in chains, standing there applauding while they were stoned to death. It must have worked horribly in his mind. You know, I don't think we probably will be pulling anybody into prison in chains or throwing stones at people. But you know, there are times when we get a hollow feeling. When we feel, you know, I've become a Christian and I love God and I accept that grace, and even though I feel the joy of that, there's an emptiness, and there's something inside me, that memory of the things that I know that I shouldn't have done that I did, and the things that I should have done and I didn't do. They bring a sadness to me. Well, this is where we got to remember that grace upon grace, that God's grace is sufficient. There is nothing more powerful than a changed person as a witness to the power of God. And those memories will always be there, but the closer we come to God, the closer we come in our relationship to God, the more we'll be able to feel a celebration of our joy. And the less the sadness will be of our past, and how much more exciting the gladness will be of the day and for the future. And so that's what we look for. The closer to God, the less the sadder, and the more the gladder, and the more joy. May God bless us. Amen.